Hello students, today we are discussing some important new critics. So first one is William Empson. Important works of William Empson are Seven Types of Ambiguity, some versions of pastorals published in 1935, and most important work of William Empson is Milton's God, published in 1961. In this Milton's God, Empson is describing a dilemma of Satan in Paradise Lost. So, according to Empson, Satan has a confusion that whether he has to submit before the will of God or whether he has to submit before his own desires. That dilemma is described by William Empson in the work Milton's God, in which he is attacking Christianity by saying that this religion is going to make any follower or any person suffer from such a dilemma. So in this one book, Empson says that all the followers of Christianity may suffer from such a confusion that whether he has to obey God or obey his own desires. Empson attacked the ways of Milton to justify the ways of God because Christian rules gives dilemma to its followers. So this is about William Empson, and his most important concept regarding new criticism is seven types of ambiguity. Next one is I.A. Richards. Important works of I.A. Richards are Meaning of Meaning. It was written by both C.K. Ogden and I.A. Richards, published in the year 1923. Next work is Principles of Literary Criticism, published in 1924. Practical Criticism, a Study of Literary Judgment, published in 1929. And then Philosophy of Rhetoric, published in 1936. So, most important concept of I.A. Richards is four kinds of meaning. And for him, these four kinds combinedly give a total meaning to a literary work. The total meaning is a blend of four types of meaning. Whatever we are saying in a text, we can draw four types of meaning from that work. That is sense, feeling, tone and intention. First one is sense. Sense in a work means what we speak to or what we want to convey to the reader or listener. What we want to say to the listener or reader is called or is the first meaning of a text, that is sense. Feeling is our attitude towards what we are conveying. That means our attitude towards what we want to say to the listener or reader is called feeling. For example, if we have a cheap attitude towards something, we will express it through a very bad language. Then tone. Tone is The attitude towards listener or the attitude towards the reader is called tone. Then, last meaning of a text is intention. It may be conscious or unconscious. Intention is the purpose of the speaker is called intention, or the aim of that speaker or writer, or what he want to tell to the audience, or his aims, or his strategy is called intention. For example, politicians, when a writer is a politician or the speaker is a politician, he may have some political intentions or aims or objectives. Politicians have particular purposes. If it's a if the writer or a speaker is a religious person, he has some religious intentions. Or if the writer is a scientist, he may have some scientific intentions or aims that he wants to tell to the audience. So there are two types of languages according to IR Richards. That is, one is scientific, second is emotive. In scientific language, we are talking only about some objects, or scientific use of language is there. About it will be based on facts. That is the specialty of scientific language of poetry or writing. But in emotive, another type of language is emotive, and in emotive type of language we are using only emotions. So this emotive type is used for writing poetry. It talks about emotions and certain attitudes to whom it is addressed. This I.R. Richards only made an experiment with his students by giving them a book to read, but he did not explain. But he did not told the author's background to his students, and he was shocked by the poor quality of stock responses of his students. Stock response means habitual and automatic responses, actually based on the reader's belief. Without telling about the background of that work's author, students produced very bad impression. This is called the famous experiment of I.R. Richards with his students. Next important new critic is CLEANTH BROOKS. CLEANTH BROOKS has made two famous concepts, that is concept of paradox and heresey of paraphrase. And important works of CLEANTH BROOKS are well wrought un. This word is taken from the poem Canonization of John Donne. Other important works of CLEANTH BROOKS are Understanding Poetry, Modern Poetry and the Tradition, Language of Paradox, Keats Sylvian Historian, History Without Footnotes. All these are main works of CLEANTH BROOKS. And first we will discuss about his concept of paradox. According to CLEANTH BROOKS, paradox, the concept of paradox is very, very important in language. It's appropriate and inevitable for poetry. In poetry, paradox is very important. We can't write poetry without this paradox. So what is paradox? Paradox is one in which two opposite or contradictory ideas are joined together. When we join such two opposite ideas, we use the technique of paradox. First, for example, we can say that in John Donne's valediction, A Forbidden Morning, the love of two lovers or the lovers are compared to the two edges of a this thing, two edges of a compass. So lovers and compass, two contradicting opposite ideas are joined together. This is paradox. So in this work, well wrought on, Clint Brooks he's giving the example of paradox from the work of canonization of John Donne. In this work, there is a paradox which is used as an underlying metaphor. The speaker is describing his physical love as saintly. So, in canonization, love and spirituality, two opposite ideas are joined together using paradox. So that's why Clement Brooks says that paradox is very important for poetry. Two lovers are appropriate candidates for canonization. So there is love in religion. Two opposite ideas, love and religion, are intermingled as a complex conceit. Next concept is heresy of paraphrase. Here heresy means a wrong thing. Paraphrasing is shortening. So Clement Brooks says that shortening a novel or shortening or paraphrasing a poetry is a mistake. It's an error. When a work is paraphrased, we are committing a mistake to that. This is talked in well wrought on. In the chapter heresy of paraphrase, he explains why paraphrasing is not important and it's not correct. When we are paraphrasing a poem, we are doing injustice to the poem. So when we are shortening a poem, we cannot turn it into a prose. It's only a shortening. We can't change the form of that poetry. When we are paraphrasing it, we are that beauty of the poem is lost forever. That's why Clint Brooks says that it's a mistake. The form is the beauty of poetry. A poem is not a scientific proposition. It is grabbed in emotions, and whenever you try to summarize it, its emotional strength or truth is lost. So Clement Brooks is a new critic. He says that paraphrasing or shortening anything, any literary work, poem or novel or whatever it is, it's not a good thing because it will destroy that beauty and strength of that work. That's what Clement Brooks says in Heresy of Paraphrase, which was written in the book Well Wrought On. Next important new critic is R.P. Blackmore. R.P. Blackmore tells us about the importance of criticism or the role of critics in his books. He is talking all this in the work A Critic's Jobs of Work. And his important concept is a text is an autonomous whole. According to R.P. Blackmore, a critic's job is to judge a work objectively, independent of any attention of author or his intention. So, a critic explores the internal properties such as imagery, irony, paradox, etc., and all the other kinds of meaning. What Blackmore wants to say is that as a new critic, we have to concentrate only in the images, irony, that is the literary techniques. We should not concentrate on the author's intentions or his background or the cultural or historic background of any book. This is what all the new critics says. We have to concentrate only on images, irony, paradox, such literary techniques. We have to concentrate only on this. And also, there are two types of critics: an amateur critic and there are two types of critics. First one is amateur critic. He is not an expert. They work not for money but for their own interest in criticism. Passing criticism for their interest's sake. So, according to Blackmore, such amateur critics are doing their work or criticizing out of for their own interest. They are doing these jobs to satisfy their own mind. So such type of critics won't be influenced by anyone. They are not doing this criticism for money. So they may be neutral. They won't support anyone for any monetary benefits. They won't support anyone for money. They are doing their jobs only to satisfy their mind. Such criticism is good. According to R.P. Blackmore, such type of amateur critics are better than the professional critics. But in the case of another type is professional critic, and professional critics are doing their works for money. So they may be influenced by other outer sources. They may do their job to satisfy someone because they need money. That's why Blackmore says that compared to professional critics, amateur criticism is more better. Next one is John Crow Ransom. He is an American critic, first new critic, and he is the first who used the term new criticism. So he belongs to Southern literary groups or fugitive critics school, because John Crow Ransom and all the other members of Southern literary group belong to the southern part of America. Another name for such a southern literary group is fugitive critics. He is the editor of the journal Fugitive. And according to John Crow Ransom, not criticism, but writing should be more scientific, objective, and systematic. That's why he is giving importance for ontological criticism. For Ransom, The criticism should be scientific and systematic. It should be objective and neutral. So he is favoring a scientific way of criticism for all the works. And the last type of critics we are discussing is neo-Aristotelians or Chicago School of Criticism. This neo-Aristotelians or otherwise they are called as Chicago School of Criticism. They are professors of University of Chicago, and they and important members of this Chicago School of Criticism are Aristotle, Norman MacLean, and Richard Mascune. They published a manifesto known as Critics and Criticism, Ancient and Modern. So, they are not like other new critics. They are opposing some aspects of new criticism, like for other new critics they are saying that we have to concentrate only on the literary devices of a work, that is meter, rhythm, metaphor, and form of that work. But according to neo-Aristotelians or Chicago School, we have to consider the literary devices, but at the same time we have to consider the genre of that work also. This is totally against the views of new critics. This Chicago school still believed in the ideas of Aristotle, Aristotle, who said his ideas in the work Poetics. They said that it is important to look at individual text within the genre. So, in the matter of genre, they are opposing other new critics, and you can only identify a text looking at the genre and intention of the writer. But other new critics focused only on the literary devices like irony, metaphor, etc. And this in this Chicago School of Criticism, Aaron Crane criticized the work Tom Jones in his famous book Critics and Criticism. So that's all in this class of new criticism, and I hope you have enjoyed my class. Please subscribe my class. Thank you.